this was the season premiere of Impact on Destination America. I'm not sure why we're calling it that. I thought the season premiere was the actual first episode of Impact that aired on the network last week. Whatever. But this was the first episode where they had time to post-produce everything. So this was a better indication of what we can expect from this product from now on, or at least until the next time they hit the reset button. The first thing that jumped out at me was the aesthetics. For the most part, I really like what they're doing. They're filming things differently, editing things differently. I love the new match graphics. They look totally different from anything I've seen before, and in a good way. So overall, I think the look of the show really works. There were a few moments that felt a little too produced, like the announcers moving to a different room and talking over background music. Didn't like that. Also, the shaky cam got a little out of control this week. But minor complaints aside, there seems to be a concentrated effort on the production end to make the show look and feel different from both WWE and from what TNA used to be on Spike. That's good. If you want to be alternative, be alternative. No one's going to confuse this for SmackDown in a smaller venue, so well done on that, really. Hats off to the production crew. The only thing I really had a problem with was the lighting. Or rather, the lack of it. Can we please turn the lights back on? Why does the arena have to be so dark? I feel like I'm watching a televised house show that only drew a few dozen fans because that's about as many fans as I could see. If you didn't have many asses in the seats, okay, that's just what you have to do to cover it up. But if you've got a good-sized crowd, and I don't know if it's true or not, but I heard these shows did draw good crowds, turn the lights on so we can fucking see it! When everything is so dark, you just look like you didn't sell any tickets. I see what you're going for here, but seriously, it doesn't look good. It just makes the show look small time. So that's production. There are a few kinks to iron out, but turn the house lights back on and they'll be well on their way. But, as usual, the creative end is a different animal altogether. Last week did not leave me excited about this new faction because, to be honest, I'm just burned out on factions. TNA have done so many of these fucking things over the years. Aces and Eights, Main Event Mafia, Immortal, World Elite, Team Dixie, the list goes on and on. So it's really difficult to think that there's anything special about the Beatdown Clan, because it just feels like the latest entry on a list that is getting way too damn long in my opinion. We already had the Revolution on the show. Was another faction really necessary right now? I'm just saying. However, I will at least give them credit for trying to recognize and avoid some of the mistakes they made with a number of factions in the past. First and foremost, having too many fucking members. So often when TNA does angles like this, they'll load up the faction with way too many people so it just feels like a big schmoz of bodies where no one stands out, reference Immortal, reference Aces and Eights, but they didn't make that mistake here. First thing they do, kick out Lashley. You could see it coming a mile away, but it made sense. Him and MVP are butting heads, so he's out. Okay, good. Next, Eric Young is not really a member of the group, he's just affiliated with them. Good. They didn't need him and he wouldn't fit in the group anyway. That gives them 4 guys. MVP, Kenny King, Samoa Joe, and Low Ki. Everyone is different. Everyone can fill a unique role. It's just big enough to be a force while leaving room for everyone to be spotlighted without getting overshadowed, and there are no weak links. That's a formula for a successful faction. Don't add any more members. Just leave it as the 4 of them and they'll be in good shape. Also, they were booked strongly here. Joe beat Kurt Angle by himself without help. Low Ki won the X title back from Aries. I don't know why he needed to lose it to Aries in the first place, but for a hot potato title change it could have been done worse, I suppose. And I'm not opposed to the hot potato stuff if it happens once in a while. I just wish it hadn't been done 1 week after they hot potatoed the world title. And then they took out Lashley at the end. All these factions seem like they're running together for me these days, but this one is off to a good start at least. I can't say the same about the Eric Young heel turn though. TNA tried the heel EY thing once before and it didn't really work, so this was going to be a hard sell even if creative stuck the landing, which, in my opinion, they didn't. Eric had 2 reasons for turning heel, one that made no sense, and another that we were never privy to. He's pissed off that Bobby Roode never gave him a world title match. To which my question is, when the hell could Bobby Roode have given him a world title match? Roode won the belt from Lashley. Lashley was first in line for title shots because as the former champion he was owed a rematch. And in that rematch, Rude lost the title back to Lashley. So, when could Rude have given Eric a title match? That makes no sense. Also, apparently Rude never visited Eric in the hospital. He only texted him. Okay, that might be something. The problem is we never saw it. This was the first time we'd even heard about it. So you've got one reason that feels like bullshit, and another that feels like the writers just pulled it out of their asses because it all happened off camera. Ergo, this Eric Young heel turn feels kind of phony to me. I just didn't buy it. Now, they are trying hard to sell it. They had Eric go over Rude in this match here, so it's possible they can still make it work. But the explanation for the whole thing was really flimsy. Now, something that by all rights should feel really flimsy, but somehow does not, is the idea of an announcer getting in the ring and wrestling. I really have no desire to see JB in a match, but with the awesome and hilarious way that our Lord of Wrestling was antagonizing JB here for inexcusably disrespecting him last week, it actually made me want to root for JB and, in a weird way, kind of look forward to this. Such is the brilliance of EC3. Now, I haven't talked about the wrestling yet, and that's because the wrestling was just not a big talking point this week, which is not a criticism. I'm the one who's been screaming at TNA that they need more storylines, so if they want to put more emphasis on that stuff from time to time, I'm fine with that. But we did have some good stuff here. The Wolves and the Hardys was the match of the night easily. Excellent tag match from those guys. Aries and Low Ki was very good. Samoa Joe and Kurt Angle was just okay. It was a far cry from what they delivered in the past, but Angle isn't what he used to be, and, well, quite frankly, Samoa Joe isn't really what he used to be, so that one wasn't bad, but I was hoping for more. Rude and EY wasn't bad either, but not as intense as it probably should have been. And then there was the Knockouts tag match, which just irritated me. I enjoyed watching Brooke and Taryn, they worked hard, but the beautiful people didn't do shit in this match, as fucking usual. I could not care less about the beautiful people at this point. This gimmick has been played out for years. So, of course, they win the match.
No, no, no.
So you've got the two fresh and interesting knockouts getting jobbed out to the two knockouts who couldn't be more stale and boring if they tried. Throw the bromance in there too, and I spent most of this segment reaching for my vomit bag. But the saving grace is that it was all just a setup for Awesome Kong to come out. She destroys Velvet and Angelina, proving to everyone exactly how irrelevant those two are. Then Havoc comes out to get in Kong's face. After she retreated from Kong last week. Strange. But security separates them before they can even touch? That was awkward. But I'll sure as hell take that instead of the beautiful people getting put over. They need to be focused on even less than Madison Rayne does at this point, so anything that takes the spotlight off of them, I'm on board with. I have a few concerns about the Kong Havoc thing, but there are benefits to it, and this was one of them.
Yes!
This was an interesting impact. There are a couple of things that I would tweak about the production, but overall it really does feel like TNA has developed a format here that gives the show a distinct look that is completely different from what WWE is doing. So at least aesthetically, the show looks like a real alternative product should look. Now, creatively, you can still poke a lot of holes in the storylines, though that's nothing new. But at least they're making an effort to include more storylines now, and during the end of their run on Spike, that was not the case. They do need to refine a bunch of things, but they've got something to work with here. Until next time, over. Out.